you. If you're looking for maybe a clearer path towards feeling healthier, having more energy, and, well, just a brighter outlook, then you've definitely landed in the right place.
Yeah, today on the deep dive, we're exploring RISE together today. RTT for short. We've spent a good bit of time looking through their website, risetogethertoday.com, and some other materials to really get a handle on their approach.
Right. And our goal here for this deep dive is really to figure out how RTT aims to simplify, well, what can often feel like a really complex world of wellness,
Mhm.
and, see whether their methods could actually be a real benefit if you're maybe striving for better health, more pep in your step, and honestly, a genuine sense of hope again.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. Where did an organization like Rise Together Today even come from? It's interesting.
Yeah, where did it spring from?
Well, what's really noticeable is the sheer wealth of experience behind it. It comes from the co-founders, Dee Eastman and Sean Foy.
So,
And together, they bring, get this, 4 decades of combined work in the wellness field.
wow, 40 years. That's a significant track record, isn't it? What were they involved in before launching RTT?
So their backgrounds are really closely tied to the Daniel Plan. You might have heard of it, a global health and wellness program.
Oh, yeah, the Daniel Plan. I have heard of that. It reached a huge number of people, didn't it?
It really did. They estimate it impacted over 1 million lives over about a decade.
Mm.
And I had some pretty big names guiding it, too. Well-respected physicians like Dr. Mark Hyman, Dr. Daniel Amen, Dr. Mehmet Oz,
Right, right. Big names.
and Dee Eastman. She was actually the founding director. Sean Foy was part of the expert faculty there.
Okay, so they were really instrumental right in the thick of a program with that kind of massive reach. That definitely gives you a sense of their understanding of what works, on a large scale.
Absolutely. And adding to that credibility, they also co-authored the #1 New York Times bestseller, The Daniel Plan, 40 Days to a Healthier Life.
#1 bestseller. So clearly their approach resonated widely.
It seems so. Which leads us nicely into RTT itself.
Yeah, exactly. So with all that history, what was the main driving idea behind starting Rise Together today?
Well, their core vision, the phrase they use, is to make wellness simple for all.
Make wellness simple. Okay.
They essentially took all that extensive experience, the lessons learned, probably the successes and maybe the challenges
Yeah.
from the Daniel Plan,
Sure.
and aimed to create RTT. They saw a need, I think, to cut through all the noise and confusion out there and offer a more straightforward path to well-being, something that feels achievable for, well, for anyone.
Make wellness simple. I mean, that's a really compelling idea. The wellness space can feel so overwhelming sometimes, can't it?
Definitely.
So how do they actually go about simplifying things? What's their overarching philosophy?
At its heart, RTT focuses on simplifying wellness by looking at it holistically. So they consider the body, mind, spirit, and even relationships.
Ah, okay. So not just focusing on, what you eat and how much you exercise.
Not at all. It's a much more integrated perspective, seeing how all those pieces fit together. And a really fundamental principle they emphasize is the power of small daily choices yielding big and long-lasting results.
Small daily choices.
Yeah, the idea is that this approach makes adopting healthier habits feel way less daunting, more sustainable for you in the long run.
That sounds much more realistic for most people, I think. Small steps. So how does that philosophy translate into practical steps? What kinds of methods and programs do they actually offer?
Okay, so a real cornerstone of their approach is something called the 7-minute RISE method.
7 minutes. Okay.
Yeah, think of it as a daily practice designed to really center yourself. RISE is actually an acronym. Renew spirit, ignite mind, share heart, and energize body.
Huh. A 7-minute practice covering all those areas. That actually does sound simple enough to fit into a busy day.
Exactly, that's the goal. And it's built on insights from positive psychology, strength-based coaching, also timeless wisdom, and mindfulness practices.
Interesting mix.
Yeah. And for those who want a bit more structure, they also published the RISE 7-Minute Method Journal back in 2021. It's a tool to help you follow along and reflect on that daily practice.
A journal to go with it. Yeah, that makes sense. Always helpful. What about the food side of things, the nutritional aspects?
Right, nutrition. RTT puts a big emphasis on real, fresh, whole food. They talk about it as medicine, as fuel.
Mm-hmm.
The focus is generally on a whole food, plant-based leaning, healthy fat kind of diet.
Okay, so concentrating on unprocessed, natural foods, that definitely aligns with a lot of current nutritional thinking.
It does. And they bring in expertise here, too. They have an expert chef and nutritionist, Jenny Ross. She provides practical guidance like recipe guides, weekly meal plans, that sort of thing.
Practical help. Good.
And they even encourage something they call a pantry makeover.
A pantry makeover, like cleaning out the junk.
Pretty much, helping you create an environment at home that actually supports healthy eating habits rather than sabotaging them.
That's a smart, concrete action someone can take right away.
Okay, and fitness. That's another big area where people often feel overwhelmed or, like they don't have time.
Yeah, and this is where the other co-founder, Sean Foy, really comes in. He's known as America's fast fitness expert, and he wrote a book called The Burst Workout.
Ah, burst workout.
So their fitness approach centers around burst fitness workouts and also burst micro moves. These are short, scientifically designed movements.
Scientifically designed? What does that mean, practically?
Well, they leverage principles kind of similar to high-intensity interval training, or HIT, short bursts of intense activity, then brief recovery. Research shows this can be super effective for boosting metabolism, cardiovascular health, even in short periods.
Okay, so short, effective workouts. That definitely sounds more appealing than, grinding out hours at the gym for a lot of people.
Absolutely. The whole goal is efficiency. Maximize your metabolism, tone muscles, boost your mood, improve fitness, all in just minutes a day, making movement accessible. Okay, so they're hitting the body and spirit with nutrition and the RISE method, body again with fitness. What about the mind part of their holistic view?
Right, the mind. RTT integrates mindset philosophies and, importantly, practical tools. These are aimed at helping you build healthy habits and manage stress more effectively.
Tools like what?
Well, in their coaching programs, they have weekly mindset focus sessions. But they also offer free resources, things like the 5 Habits of Happiness guide, and really useful tips on sleep hygiene that's in their free wellness renewal guide.
Sleep hygiene. That's huge for mindset.
Totally. They really understand that stress, the mind stuff, can show up physically in the body and definitely impacts your motivation for sticking with healthy habits.
So recognizing that crucial link between mental and physical well-being, very important. And you mentioned relationships earlier as part of their holistic view. How do they weave that in?
Community support is actually a really significant pillar of the RTT approach.
Yes.
They emphasize how vital strong relationships are. So they provide access to a private online community, often it's a Facebook group, that kind of platform.
Right, a place to connect.
Exactly. For daily support, encouragement, just connecting with others who are on a similar journey.
That sense of connection, that shared experience. Yeah, that can be incredibly motivating, can it?
It really can. And it's not just the online peer support. They also host live weekly coaching calls with Dee Eastman, Sean Foy, and Jenny Ross, the nutritionist.
Live calls with the experts.
Yeah. Plus, there's actual research showing that strong social support boosts optimism and can lower anxiety levels. So it's a core component.
Okay, so they're not just throwing information out there. They're building in these layers of interaction and support. That makes sense. Now, you mentioned programs. They have specific ones people can join, right?
Yes, exactly. They offer signature programs kind of tailored to different needs and maybe different levels of commitment.
Like what?
Well, there's the 21-day Stronger, Leaner You program. That one's shorter, more condensed, really focused on supporting detoxification, building strength, and helping you achieve a leaner physique.
Okay, a shorter, focused reset.
Right. And then there's the 30-day Rise Reset. This one's more comprehensive. It's aimed at fostering total well-being and really establishing sustainable, lifelong wellness practices.
So more in-depth.
Yeah, and it comes with more support materials, too, like a detailed 30-day recipe guide and an inspirational journal to guide you through it.
Got it. A deeper dive for maybe more significant longer-term changes.
Precisely. And beyond those, they also run interactive multi-day challenges. Usually these are like 7 to 21 days long.
Challenges.
Yeah, designed to help you actively implement specific new habits, but with expert guidance and the support of the group doing it together. Like maybe a 10-day nutrition clean eating challenge or something similar.
Ah, okay. Focused sprints?
Kind of. And for ongoing support, maybe after completing a program or just for continuous accountability, they also have a monthly coaching group. That focuses on more targeted habit implementation month by month.
It really sounds like they've created a whole range of options, trying to meet people wherever they are on their wellness journey.
That seems to be the idea, yeah.
Okay, so let's connect the dots for someone listening, someone who's genuinely hoping for better health, maybe more energy, that renewed sense of hope we talked about. How do all these different pieces of RTT actually translate into those benefits?
Okay, yeah, let's break that down. For health, the programs really aim to support things like weight management, definitely curbing those cravings for unhealthy foods.
Big one for many.
Huge.
Yeah.
Also, lowering inflammation through that whole food nutritional focus, improving sleep quality, which connects back to mindset too,
Right.
and potentially easing symptoms tied to certain chronic health issues, again, by emphasizing whole foods and consistent movement.
Those are really tangible health improvements many people are looking for.
Absolutely. Then thinking about energy. The combination of those burst fitness workouts and the nutrient-dense food recommendations is specifically designed to naturally boost your energy levels.
Get rid of that sluggish feeling.
Exactly. Help to overcome that, optimize your body's metabolism.
That promise of more energy is...
Yeah, that's definitely appealing.
And finally, for hope. This is where the renew spirit part of the 7-minute rise method really comes in, along with the positive mindset tools and that crucial sense of community connection.
How does that help with hope?
Well, it all works together to help uplift your mood, build greater resilience when life throws challenges at you, and importantly, help break free from those negative cycles, like yo-yo dieting or other unhealthy habits that can feel so discouraging.
Breaking cycles, yeah.
But we looked at some testimonials too, and people mentioned feeling more mindful, having a renewed sense of hope, just feeling better overall, and gaining a kind of freedom from those old negative patterns. RTT really seems aimed at helping you leave behind low energy, unwanted weight, and that mental fatigue. Hearing about those real-world outcomes is genuinely encouraging. And it's clear the leaders, Dee Eastman, Sean Foy, Jenny Ross, bring a ton of expertise. How involved are they personally in guiding people?
From what we can tell, they're very actively involved. You've got Dee's 30 years in wellness, her role founding the Daniel Plan, Sean's recognized expertise as the fast fitness expert, Jenny's culinary and nutrition background. They provide daily insights, practical strategies through the programs, and maybe most importantly, they lead those live weekly coaching sessions themselves.
Okay, so it's definitely not just a here's the info, good luck kind of program. There's direct interaction with experienced professionals. That level of guidance, yeah, that can make a huge difference for people.
Agreed.
So if someone listening is intrigued by all this, but maybe they're a little hesitant, unsure about committing, where would you suggest they start with Rise Together today? Is there an easy entry point?
Absolutely. A fantastic starting point is their free membership and the resources that come with it.
Free membership, okay.
Yeah. This gives you immediate access to their really valuable wellness renewal guide. And inside that guide, you get things like a 3-day nutrition reset plan, a sample burst metabolic workout to try, and those helpful mindset materials we mentioned, like the 5 Habits of Happiness.
Ah, so you get a real taste of the different components.
Exactly. It's basically a zero-commitment way to experience the RTT approach firsthand. See if the style resonates with you, see if it feels like a good fit.
A no-risk way to sort of dip their toes in the water?
Precisely. And with that free membership, you also get access to their weekly wellness content emails, and you can join their online community. So it's a great opportunity to get a feel for their whole philosophy and the support system before deciding on anything more.
That sounds like a very sensible first step. Okay, we've talked a lot about the practical elements, the programs, the support. What about the underlying foundation? Is RTT rooted in scientific research or maybe a particular philosophical tradition? Where does it all come from?
It seems to draw from several key underpinnings. First, as we mentioned, that foundation built with the Daniel Plan involved collaboration with world-renowned physicians, right? That lends a strong element of medical credibility from the start.
Okay, that's significant.
Then, the 7-minute rise method itself, they say it draws directly from research in positive psychology, but it also incorporates principles from timeless faith traditions. So a blend there.
Mind and spirit connection again.
Exactly. On the nutrition side, their guidance emphasizing whole foods aligns with a huge body of research showing how profoundly diet impacts our genes, chronic disease risk, all of that.
Right. The science on whole foods is pretty solid now.
Yeah. And the burst fitness workouts, they're specifically described as being designed based on scientific principles of exercise physiology, like we talked about with the inch-height similarities. And they do also weave in elements of faith-based inspiration. For instance, they sometimes reference scriptures like Isaiah 40.31 relating to themes of strength and renewal. And finally, the importance they place on the community aspect, that group model. Well, that's strongly supported by lots of research showing just how effective group support is for achieving lasting lifestyle changes.
So it sounds like it's not just based on, someone's good ideas. There's a mix of scientific research, established principles, and some faith-based elements supporting their methods.
That seems to be the case, yeah. a multifaceted foundation.
Okay, one last very practical question. If someone does decide to jump into one of their paid programs, is there any recommended prep work beforehand?
Yes, actually. They suggest taking about 2 days to prepare before officially starting a program.
2 days. What do they recommend doing?
It involves practical steps like stocking your kitchen with the recommended healthy foods for the program
Makes sense.
and undertaking that pantry makeover we talked about earlier. Getting rid of the temptations, setting up your environment. It's all about proactively setting yourself up for success right from day one,
That makes perfect sense. A little bit of prep work can definitely pave the way for smoother progress, can it?
for sure.
Okay, so to kind of bring this all together then, what's the main takeaway from our deep dive into Rise Together today? What's the essence of it?
I think ultimately Rise Together Today offers a pathway to wellness that really prioritizes simplicity and a holistic view. They
Mhm.
integrate those key pillars, nutrition, fitness, mindset, and that crucial community